back to my YouTube channel, #MovieBae. I am MovieBae, and in this video, I'm going to be doing my first TBT Throwback Thursday movie review over 13. Now, before we get too into it though, I want you to drop down and hit the subscribe button because here on MovieBae, I do reviews, reactions, and commentary to movies and television. So if that's the type of content that you like, you might as well stick around and hit the subscribe button. 13 is a popular independent film that stars Evan Rachel Wood, Holly Hunter, and the writer Nikki Reed. Now, I saw this movie when I was 13, and if you've ever seen this movie, I was like, oh, these girls OD, they wild. I ain't like that. So, needless to say, this movie played a very important part in my life. It stuck with me, and on top of that, it's just a good film. So I decided to make this after you all voted for it to be my first Throwback Thursday movie review. So let's go ahead and get into the synopsis. So 13 is about an innocent 7th grader undergoes an abrupt personality change when she begins hanging out with a wild classmate. The movie starts with two girls huffing nitrous and smacking the shit out of each other. We come to later find out that these two girls are named Tracy and Evie. So we get a title card and we flash to 4 months earlier. Now we are formally introduced to Tracy, and she has her hair in ponytails. She's dressed like an appropriate 13-year-old, okay? And we also get a peep at her home life. So she has a mom and an older brother, Mason. Now, Tracy's mom, Mel, is a former drug addict, and she goes to sobriety meetings from every now and again. She's also a at-home hairdresser who works for pennies. She gets shitty tips, and she also allows her clients' children to eat up their dinner. Okay, Tracy says that her mom is way too giving, and I 100% agree. Now, MovieBae, where is the dad? Well, Tracy and Mason's father is no longer in their life. He's kind of like a phone call dad. You know what I'm saying? Like he'll call or they'll call every once in a while. But he has remarried and he has a whole nother family that he'd rather spend his time with. So that is Tracy's home life. At school, Tracy is damn near invisible because she dresses like an appropriate 13-year-old. When Mason is introducing Tracy to his friends, they are all distracted by Evie Zamora. Now, Evie is that bitch, okay? She is the it girl at school. She is dressed like an early 2000s pop star. Okay, so peep the contrast. We have Disney's 2000 and Britney 2000, okay? So obviously Tracy is enamored, just like all the guys at the school, by Evie. So while at school, Tracy is picked on by other girls due to her clothes. They make fun of her socks, right? They say, oh wow, cool socks, like really sarcastically. And I'm like, damn bitch, they're socks. I mean, I love how they drew attention to the smallest detail that you would think nobody is looking for or looking at. They picked on her socks, okay? So Tracy goes home and she throws her damn socks away. She throws her socks away. She gets mad. She goes in the dresser drawer. She starts throwing at her clothes. Her mom comes in and is like, what's going on? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on? And she was like, hey, babe, why are these socks in the trash? And Tracy's like, I'm not a baby. I need new clothes. Like, she just freaks out. But Mel, being a wonderful mother, okay, she decides to take Tracy shopping. Now, they don't really go to the mall because they don't really have money like that. So they go to like this thrift store van. Maybe they're selling like boosted items or whatever. And Mel, Tracy's mom, she pays in like dollars, coins, and exos. That's the payment. But the lady was like, hey, it's cool with me. So now Tracy got some new clothes, okay? Next day at school, Tracy wears one of her little new outfits, right? And she has the confidence boost of a bitch with a brand new BBL, okay? Like, bitch is feeling herself. So much so, she follows Evie Zamora to the bathroom. Now, Evie turns around, peeps her outfit, and she's like, hey, here's my number. We should go shopping on Melrose. So obviously Tracy is excited, okay? So on the way home, Tracy tells her friends that she has gymnastics practice. And in my head, I was like, bitch, I ain't got no money. Yeah, you ain't got no damn gymnastics practice. So that was obviously just a lie she told her friends so she can call and hang out with Evie. But when she calls, Evie doesn't answer. The phone is disconnected. So she gets mad. She throws a fit, right? Her brother said, hey, mom wants you to clean your room. She's like, yeah, okay. She goes outside, smokes a cigarette. Oh, not Tracy. Yes, smokes a cigarette, sneaks off to the mall to go to try to find Evie. Room still not cleaned, okay? So aside from her little temper tantrum with her mom, she's lying to her friends. She's not doing her chores, sneaking off to the mall, smoking cigarettes. Like, Tracy is already having a personality change, okay? So she finally gets to the mall. She sees Evie and Evie's other friend, and the girls are shoplifting. So Tracy kind of panics. She really doesn't know what she wants to do. So she leaves the store. Now, when she leaves the store, she runs into this businesswoman who is mad distracted by her phone call. Tracy decides to take the woman's wallet, take it back to Evie and the friend, and they decide to go shopping on another person's dime. Now, when Tracy gets back home, we see Mel playing music. She's dressed up and she's cooking. And she has this like grin on her face. Tracy is like, Mom, why is there 4 plates at the dinner table? So we find out that Mel's ex-drug addict boyfriend is going to join them for dinner, and Tracy is not happy about it. So even though Tracy had a lovely little day out with Evie, she comes back to a home life that she is not really happy to be in at the moment. Back at school, Tracy has officially dissed her friends. I mean, she doesn't sit with them, she doesn't walk with them, she doesn't talk with them, okay? So she decides to take Evie to the mall after school. Well, her mom takes them to the mall after school. Now, Mel, like a good parent, says that she needs to talk to Evie's mom to let her know, hey, I'm taking the girls to the mall, right? Tracy throws a fit. She's like, Mom, if you ruin, this is the best day of my life, and if you ruin it, I will kill you. Whoa. I would be like, wait the fuck a minute. Because if this is the best day of your life and you gonna kill me, bitch, I'll beat you to it. Like, who you talking to? Okay, first and foremost. But Mel, being a lovely parent, she's like, okay, baby, okay. So she lets Tracy and Evie out the car to go shopping. Well, like a good parent, Mel still calls Evie's guardian, Brooke, who's like her aunt. And Brooke, like a good parent, okay, so it's not the parents right now, but Brooke, like a good parent, says Evie is not allowed to be on Melrose without adult supervision. So Mel goes back to be with the girls while they shop. Now, in that little moment, we get a hint at Evie's home life. She says she doesn't have a mom, she has a guardian, and you can kind of just get the sense how she said it. It's like, no, she's just my guardian. Like, but here's the number. You know, when I was rewatching this, I feel like Evie is really complying. Like, Evie is low-key a good kid. She just does wild shit. And we're going to get into Evie a little bit later. But something else that is notable, while they were shopping, we found out that Tracy tried on these jeans with some leopard print that she really liked, but they were too expensive. Obviously, they don't really have the money like that. And Evie comes out, she's like, well, my jeans are only $19.95. Like, Evie is a very adaptable, good kid, low-key. Like I just said, she just does wild shit. Speaking of wild shit, after shopping, the girls are hanging outside, and Noelle, one of Tracy's friends, come over, and she tries to hang out with them. So Evie is being nice to the girls. She introduces herself, gives her pizza. All about Tracy is ignoring Noelle, acting as if she's embarrassed. Like, bitch, this your friend, or was. So when some guys walk by, Evie's like, hey, let's go to the park with the guys. So they go to the park. Evie's selling them drugs. They're taking drugs, and they are all high as a kite. And when Evie comes home, when Tracy Evie and Tracy, they come back home. The mom obviously noticed that Tracy's high, and she wants to talk to Tracy about it, but the mom has company. So instead of talking to her daughter immediately, Mel puts it off and says, we'll talk about it when my company leaves. And Tracy is like, yeah, when he leaves. So to me, this is when Mel started slipping as a parent. Like, just because your little boyfriend there doesn't mean you stop being a parent, okay? Tracy sees Mel and her boyfriend later that night, kissing or whatever. And Tracy starts having flashbacks of the time she saw her mom's boyfriend OD. This is when we see that Tracy actually commit self-harm. Okay. Now, I personally don't know why that flashback warranted her to do that to herself. Like, if y'all understood why she did that in that moment, please let me know. Because I felt like, girl, what was happening? I mean, you don't like your mama boyfriend that much to where you want to hurt yourself? Now, writing wise, I feel like I could low-key understand if in that flashback scene, the mom was also ODing. Because, being around your old junkie boyfriend might turn you into a junkie as well. Like, I feel like if the mom was also ODing instead of coming to her boyfriend's aid, that would warrant that behavior from Tracy. But just the flashback that they had in the movie, I don't understand that. At this point, Tracy's behavior is progressively getting worse. She's late for class, talking back to teachers, lying to her mom, sneaking off to get piercings. She's catching attitudes with her mom and using profanity. Now, Evie and Tracy are getting closer and closer. They're always together. Now, one day after having a blow up with Tracy, Mel asked Evie if she could go home for a little while. Now, this is when we get a little insight about Evie's home life. I never could tell if this was real or not, but Evie claims that her guardians, which is her cousin, her boyfriend beats her. Now, I never could tell if that was true or not because we never saw a boyfriend in the movie, but that's what Evie says her home life is like. Now, after Tracy gets off the phone with her father, finding out that he won't be able to take her and Mason with him this weekend, Tracy is in another one of her moods. This part, I understand where Tracy angers come from, because imagine that you have a dad who is off making money while you, your mom, and your brother are struggling. He off with having new kids and with his wife and happy living life. Meanwhile, while y'all struggling, like he acting like y'all don't exist. Like, how dare you go start another family and forget about the family that you had first? So when it comes to her anger towards her father, I 100% understand that. Like we said, Tracy's in one of her moods, right? So later that night, Mel comes in and shows Tracy and Evie a pair of jeans that she made. Now, these jeans are the replica pair of jeans that Tracy originally wanted at the store, but they were too expensive. Now, Tracy is talking down on the jeans. Meanwhile, Evie is like geeked out about them. She's complimenting Mel, saying that these are done really well, they're really cute, and she thanks Mel by giving her a kiss on the lips. Now, when Tracy sees this, she kind of loses her shit, but she decides to go off on her mom. And her mom is just really over it. She walks away grinning and she closes the door in Tracy's face. Tracy obviously is still mad while Evie's still playing with the damn jeans, pretending like she didn't hear what was going on. Now, my interpretation of the scenario, I personally feel like Evie really just wants a mom figure. Like, I don't think she had any sexual attraction to Mel. I think Evie just really craves for love and little deeds like that moms would normally do, because Evie's mom is not in her life. So after a little while, Evie sneaks out the house with some boy, KK, okay, with KK, and Tracy is upset because Evie is leaving her. At this point, it's a real codependent relationship. Evie's like, hey, it's just gonna be me and KK. Like, you can stay here. But obviously, Tracy is in one of her moods. Her best friend just left her, so she decides to self-harm once again. When Evie comes back in the house from going to the park with that boy, she sees Tracy has bled through her sleeve, and she now is aware that Tracy cuts herself. So one day at school, Tracy, Evie, and a whole group of girls are hanging out, and the finest guy in school, I suppose, named Javier, comes over. All the girls greet him. Evie greets him with a kiss on the neck, and when Javier asks if he could speak to Tracy privately, Evie turns around with nothing but jealousy on her face. So Javier asks Tracy if they can hang out later and if he could get her number. But Evie steps in like a player hating ass bitch and gives Javier her number and say, yeah, just call. We'll be hanging out together. So Evie disses her friend Astrid and takes Tracy back to her house. So now we get to see how Evie is living. So back at Evie's house, we finally get to meet her cousin, guardian, auntie, whatever she is, Brooke LaLanne. Now, Brooke is a model, actress, and a bartender by night. So she's getting ready to go to work as the girls get home. Evie goes in the refrigerator, gets a beer, hands it to Tracy, and Tracy's like, we can't drink in front of your aunt. And Evie's like, girl, it's fine, quit playing. So Brooke says, of course you can only have one beer because you have homework. Like, did you forget that they are 13, ma'am? So I feel like this is the structure that Evie wants in her life. I don't think Evie really wants to be able to do whatever the fuck she wants to do, which is why she probably likes being at Tracy's house, where it's family, a structure, versus just her by herself with her aunt working at night. You know what I'm saying? Now, this part is when the girls reach a whole nother level of too grown for your own damn good. So they receive the call from Javi, and they invite him and a friend over because obviously there's no adult there. But I personally don't think Brooke would have minded anyways. Before the girls' companies come over, they decide that they're going to practice kissing on each other. Now, I don't personally feel like Tracy and Evie were sexually attracted to each other, but I do feel like the closeness of their friendship transformed into sexual energy. So I don't think that they were sexually attracted to each other, but that's just how close they had become. Now, when Javi and his homeboy get over there, they're all drinking and smoking weed. And after Javier's whack-ass rap session, Tracy, like, boy, shut the fuck up. I would have sent his ass home right then and there. Evie and her partner start making out. Now, obviously, Tracy is not experienced at the same level Evie is, so Tracy starts mimicking Evie's behavior. So Evie gets on top of her boy, Tracy gets on top of her boy. Evie takes off her shirt, Tracy takes off her shirt. And you know how, like, y'all on double dates, and if one couple hold each other's hand, y'all gotta start holding each other's hand. One couple start kissing, y'all gotta start kissing. So it's not necessarily like they in competition, but you feel that pressure of competition. I feel like that's why Tracy decided to mimic what Evie was doing, because like, how they gonna be kissing and making out and we just sitting here like, so what's your favorite color? Like, it don't always go down like that. It's like an indirect form of peer pressure. Side note, the song that they playing while they making out, I love this song, y'all. I think it's called Freaked by a Blind Man. Have you ever been freaked by a blind man? Girl, this song goes so hard. Like, I mean, it goes so hard. I even looked it up on YouTube one day and just listened to that whole back to back to back. I just wanted to put that out there. One thing I like about this movie is a lot of things are insinuated and not shown, especially since it's called 13. I feel like that's appropriate. So in the middle of making out, Javier stops and he unzips his pants, and then it fades to black, okay? Now we see Tracy laying down and she's just talking about how she's so in love, blah, 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 teenage girl shit. And Evie asks her if she enjoyed herself. And then Tracy says, yeah, but it tasted kind of nasty. So we can obviously insinuate that Tracy performed on Javier. Now, I just want to say, we 13. Why are these kids so damn advanced? Okay, like at 13, the big thing was, at my school anyway, grabbing booty. and if you were one of those girls, you were jacking niggas off. Like, we didn't just jump the gun like that. Like, I just feel like, damn, bitch, you did not progress. You just jumped in there head first, literally. Normally with a scene that wasn't pivotal to the plot of the movie, I would kind of just like graze over. But this scene I want to talk about. So one day or the next day, who knows, Evie and Tracy are hanging out outside. By the way, Tracy put some sunscreen on Evie's back and she sees like a big welt on Evie's back. So that kind of does play into that Evie has been abused some way, somehow, because, I mean, then again, her mom's not in her life. She has a guardian, right? Anyways, the neighbor guy, who's a grown fucking man, drives by. Evie thinks he's hot, so she talks Tracy into going over there. Now, at first it's innocent. The girls are in there. He's playing a game while they're looking through his things, making small talk. Then the girls kind of like ask for beer. He gives them beer. They want pot. He gives them pot. They start kissing and touching, and he is going along with it. Then I guess he finally comes to his fucking senses and he decides to kick them out. Now, I just want to talk about that because he was literally a grown fucking man. Grown, like in his 20s, inviting and letting in 13-year-old girls and making out with them. Like, what the hell? Now, after Luke puts out Tracy and Evie, they run back home. On the way, though, Tracy blows up at her mom, causing a whole scene, neighbors looking, everything. So Mel runs in after them, and this is when she finds out that Tracy and Evie have indeed been drinking. And she walks in the room, and there's a whole bunch of stolen clothes all over the place, okay? Now, at this moment, Mel tells Tracy, hey, we really need to have a serious talk. And Tracy pulls this on her mom. I have homework to do. Maybe you should go to more meetings. Because earlier in the movie, Tracy shared a poem with her mom. And granted, her mom listened to the poem, but she couldn't talk about it in detail because she had to go to a sobriety meeting. So Tracy threw that back up in Mel's face. This is why I don't have kids. Because I catch all the subtleties and I will be quick to pop you in the mouth. Because who you talking to? Okay? Sobriety is an important thing. All right? Scarred or not, your mom is working on herself. But what does Mel do? She gets on the phone and she calls her sponsor because her daughter is driving her to the point to where she wants to use drugs. I'm guessing the family is back on good terms because they decide to go see a movie together. But Tracy convinced her mom to let her and Evie go see a different film. Now, of course, they didn't go to the movies. They decided to go out on the strip. So they're on the strip. They see some people they know, some people they don't know. But most importantly, they see Javi. Now, when Javi sees Tracy, he gives her a kiss. And Evie looks at them jealous as fuck, per usual. And she gives Javi a hug. When Javi starts spitting his verse or whatever, because y'all know he's like a fucking rapper or whatever, she gives Tracy some money and tells her to go get them some sodas or something. And Tracy leaves. Now, when Tracy comes back from the store, back to where they were, where everybody's rapping, Evie is nowhere to be found. So she hooks up with this guy that Evie sold drugs to earlier that day. He offers her some of this drink, and it makes Tracy lose her mind. I'm like, why are you taking drinks from strangers? This guy is clearly grown as fuck, or at least 16, 17, 18 years old. And I just wanted to point out how dangerous this situation is. Like, he could have clearly taken advantage of you. This is exactly why you're 13. You're not making good decisions. Okay? Like, make better choices, Tracy. So eventually, Tracy finds Evie. And Evie's coming out the back of a store, wiping her mouth. And Javi follows behind her. This made me so mad when I was a kid because I was like, that dirty fucking skank. How dare you? How dare you steal your homegirl dude because you jealous? Because Tracy spent all that time looking for Evie, the girls get busted, and Mel found out that they did not go to the movie, that instead they were walking the strip. Now, while Tracy was out on the strip, she runs into her brother Mason. So when he gets home, Mason decides he wants to tell his mom about Tracy's recent behavior. This leads to a big blow up. A blow up between Tracy and her brother, Tracy and her mom's friend, Tracy and her mom, and then eventually Tracy went off on Mel's boyfriend, calling him a cokehead. This causes the boyfriend to leave. He said he can't deal with it. This environment is way too toxic. He's going to end up relapsing. I just want to notice this. How Tracy called Mel's boyfriend a cokehead, and then in the next scene, she's sniffing crushed pills. Who's the real cokehead, bitch? Like, you hypocritical, lame-ass bitch. How you gonna call him a loser for doing drugs? And you're doing the same shit at 13. Look in the fucking mirror. After this, you can imagine that Mel is at her breaking point. So much so where she calls Tracy's dad to tell him that he needs to take her for a while because she just can't deal anymore. Now, he says that he can't take Tracy, but he'll go talk to her. When he walks up to Tracy, he immediately tells her, I can't take you, but let's talk. And his phone keeps ringing. And he answers it and he says, I can't talk right now. I'm with a client. No, bitch. You're with your fucking daughter. Their dad just pissed me off so much in this movie. Like, he couldn't be the biggest asshole. So he's about to leave because Tracy's like, just go. He's about to leave. He runs into Mason, tells Mason, hey, we're going to go surfing in 2 weeks. No, the fuck we're not. Mason didn't even look like he had his hopes up. Mason tells his father, Tracy needs help. And the dad just blows up. Well, somebody just tell me what's going on. Now, I kind of agree. Just tell the dad. Tracy's losing her mind. She's doing drugs. She's drinking. She's sneaking out. She's having an attitude. She's need help. They could have just told him that. But at the same time, don't act like you're irritated when your fucking children need help. All right, y'all. So this is basically the following action. We about to wrap all this shit up. Tracy goes to school and finds out that her grades are complete shit. She realizes that she doesn't even know how to spell photographer anymore. So that day after school, Mel takes Evie home, and they decide that since your guardian is here, you're going to have to stay here. You can't come back to our house, okay? And when Tracy went to console Evie, Tracy just decided to leave because at the end of the day, I'm not who I was before I started hanging out with you. So after that, Evie cut Tracy off. She stopped hanging out with her. She started spreading rumors about her, even turned her fake ID into the counselor. So as if her day couldn't get any worse, Tracy also finds out that she's going to have to repeat 7th grade because she hasn't done any work the entire semester. So on her way home, when she gets there, she finds Evie, Brooke, and Mel waiting for her. Evie tells Tracy that, hey, they found my stash. I had to tell them everything, but I love you, okay? I would be like, bitch, get the fuck out of my face because you've been spreading rumors about me. Love my ass. So they're all back in the living room, and Mel dumps a box of drugs out, and she asks Tracy, what is this? And Tracy's looking around like, that shit ain't mine. So Evie has pinned all the drugs, all the stealing on Tracy. Exactly. Imagine, right? So Brooke goes over to Evie and lets Tracy know, we'll be moving and you'll never see Evie again. You're such a bad influence. And Mel is looking like, what the fuck? And Tracy is like, are you serious? Who do you think I learned all this from? Like, I know Brooke don't think Evie is innocent. You let her drink at 13. You leave her at home by herself at 13. Like, what do you think Evie is really doing? Like, you really think she's an angel? Are you dumb? So after that, everything blows up. She tells Mel that Tracy beats on Evie when they were huffing and playing around. And then Brooke does something that is low-key none of her business. She tells Mel that Tracy cuts herself. And she had no right to do that. After that, Brooke and Evie leave, and Tracy and her mom just basically embrace one another because everything has come to a peak. Everything has come to a peak. You know, they just held each other all night and cried in a wonderfully acted scene. This last scene was so well done. I hate how grainy it looked, but I'm pretty sure that was a cinematic choice. Like, they did that on purpose. And then the movie ends with Tracy on a merry-go-round, screaming into the distance, freeze frame. Well, everybody, that was my TBT review over 13. Like I stated at the beginning of this video, this is one of my favorite indie films. I saw this movie when I was 13, and even though it didn't depict my life, I did compare myself to them. I was like, as long as I'm not like them, then I am doing A-okay. But like I said, even if it didn't depict my life, I'm pretty sure it depicted a lot of teenage girls' lives then and even now to this day, okay? I feel like the message stands true. I feel like this is a classic, and I personally feel like it should be shown in movies. You know, the same time where we get the videos about our cycles and things like that, I feel like they should show this movie as a learning tool. You know what I'm saying? If you enjoyed my commentary, be sure y'all hit the thumbs up button. If you want more TBT reviews, hit the thumbs up button. Leave a comment down below. What were your thoughts on this movie and my review of it? And of course, hit that subscribe button to stick around for more content. Thank y'all so much for tuning in, and I'll see y'all next time. It's a date.